you have a feature on here that is red. That means it's not regenerated. That means that Pro E doesn't know what to do with it, and it's going to create problems for you. Get rid of it. Okay? Just delete it. Okay? Now, so that's not going to work. The round tool will not work in this case. Okay? Even the way I'm going to do it is kind of a pain, but it does work. You mess with it enough. But you're going to use a revolve. I'm going to place it onto that plane there. I'm going to go up to my sketching plane. I'm going to zoom way in on here. Okay? And I'm going to select a new reference, and I want this outside edge to be my reference. Okay? What that's going to do is allow me to go ahead and snap to something. So I'm going to use a center line here to here. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use a line vertical initially. The only reason I'm doing this is so I can set this distance here. Okay. My inside diameter was 0.375. So this needs to be something slightly less than or at 0.375. Otherwise, it's not going to intersect with everything. It's going to create issues for me. So I'm just going to set it at 0.37. Should work. Okay. So now from that point, I'm going to take an arc here, here, move it out that way. Let's say to here. That was pretty close there. And basically bring it up until I hit that perpendicular on it. Okay. Now, this constraint here, okay, it's not going to be perfect. It'll be very, very close to it. Okay, but I'm going to go ahead and take another line from this point over. So I'm basically going to complete a solid form. And then that looks like it should work. Okay, it's showing it's trying to add. I remove material. Now it's showing me that, yes, it did work. I hit the check mark. Now we need to do the same thing down here on the bottom. Okay? Well, I don't want to go through all that again. So I'm going to do something else. I'm going to add a plane. Over here you got your datum things. You can add a plane, you can add an axis, you can add points, so on and so forth. I'm going to add a plane. I want that plane to come off of here. I'm going in that direction through a translation. And I'm going to go half of what the head length is. Hit OK. So I just added another plane in here. The reason I did that is now I'm going to click on this one. I'm going to hit mirror and select the plane and the check mark. That way it goes ahead and rounds that bottom automatically for me. It's a much quicker, easier way to do it. You don't have to fight the program. Okay. So now the head is done. Okay. Gray goes all the way up to it. Some threads you'll find it will have a solid shoulder on here. If it does, just do an extrusion off of here, and whatever that distance for that solid shoulder happens to be, you can extrude that down. You can even round the end of it if you wanted. There's a lot of different things you can do to get it to where you want. Now to your question. What do we do at the end of this? Because this is not complete. You notice it doesn't even have completed threads in the bottom. Okay? So now we need to go in and figure out how to get rid of that. So I'm going to go in here, turn my datum planes back on. I'll turn the axes back on for now. Okay? I'm going to do another revolve. I'm going to do it on this surface. Go to my sketch plane. Now, the dimensioning on a screw, when it says 1/4 by 1, that 1 inch part of it is from the bottom of the head to 1 inch of thread, not including the head of the screw. Okay. So what I'm going to do is use the bottom of the head as a reference. So I'm going to add another reference in here. So I'm going to zoom in here, get that horizontal line right there. So now I have a reference to use. Okay. Down here, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to add my center line in, so I have something to revolve around. I almost forgot. Then I'm going to draw a line. And I'm going to do the first line right about here. And I'm going to move across, click off of it, so I can set my scale. I'm going to use 0.1. Okay. And that dimension looks like it's coming off of here, which is fine. Okay. From there, take another line. From that point, come off at an angle, go outside the part, come down, over, and up. Okay. So now I've got this dimension here. I've got the dimension from the bottom of the head here. So this dimension will determine the overall length. Correct? Okay. But what ends up happening if I were to accept this where it's at, and let me go ahead and put this value in, 120 degrees. Okay? If I accept this where it's at, it'll look like this, and at first everything will be just fine. It'll look great. Okay? Now it looks like a screw. Okay. But I want to make this thing useful, such that I can change my dimension. Because right now it's about 1 3/4 of an inch. So what I need to do, say I want to make a 1-inch screw out of this. I come in here, I change this to 1, check mark, and it didn't work. Okay? Because I didn't plan it out properly. Okay? What happens is that 0.18 dimension on here is tied to the top here. Okay? I don't want that tied onto there. Okay? I want that to extend past here. So what I need to do is come in under the normal. I'm going to go from this datum to this line, put it out here. And I'm going to put that at, I'll just put it at 2. So that's way beyond the end here. And I hit OK. So now anytime I want to do this, so I save this as a 1/4 screw. Okay? I would extend it back out to where it was. Let me go back for a second. 1.75. See where I'm at. 1.7. All right. So now I've got it saved like this. So I save that into my working directory. Make my own file. Now I need a 1-inch 1/4 screw somewhere. I'm working on the project. I open this one up, save it into my working directory, go in, make that one little edit change, and I've got it done. I don't have to go through all of this again. Okay? So as you make these, try to create a folder, a library for yourself. It'll make your life easier in the long run. Okay? So that answer the question? Yes. Okay. Now some of these dimensions, for example, this diameter, I don't know what it actually is. I didn't look it up, but that's how you do it. Okay. And in reality, this isn't truly exactly 3/16 of an inch. It's actually slightly bigger than that. Your Allen wrench is a 3/16, and the Allen wrench has to fit in freely. So that's not exact either. Okay, you can get the exact values and numbers if you want.
Does that difference come from like our specifications or the machines?
No, that's how they manufacture them. They're manufactured such that the Allen wrench will fit into that hole.
Do we have to specify that, or will we put the?
No, you can just put for this you can put in that. If you were designing features and parts that are going to go together, okay, which we'll get into in the introduction to the design. Say you're doing a shaft and a whole connection fitting. Okay, first thing you have to do is determine what kind of fit do you want. Do you want it to become a permanent fit? Do you want to be able to put it in, have a set screw that holds it in place? Do you want to have a slight force to it? You've got to determine all that as the design engineer. Okay, so once you figure that out, you go into what's called machinery handbook and look up the different types of fits. Or, for example, let me see if I can find this for you. What time are we supposed to finish? Uh-oh. All right. All right, anyway. Right. So I've got this posted for the other class before. And you'll get the same thing too. You have a chart on here, and it has all the different types of fits and such, and how they fit together, and how much they overlap, so on and so forth. And you'll get this, because there'll be an assignment on all. But you have to determine all that information. The day, yeah, we'll do a little more of this later on, some other stuff. But anyway, that's the majority of a lot of things on there. I do want to cover the sweep later on, how that works.